Hey everybody, we're out here on Prettyboy Reservoir today. We're going to have a little kayak around. I didn't bother to bring my fishing rods with me. We're not really out here for that. I'm just going to get out here and enjoy this beautiful day. But I do actually have a plan for while I'm out here. I've got a project I'm toying around with, and while I don't want to say too much about it just yet, I am kind of looking for ideas to sort of help my project take shape. And one of the things I'm interested in is native marginal plants. In other words, the kind of plants you find growing on the edges of bodies of water, whether it's the edge of a stream or it's the edge of the lake. I won't be able to find anything to do with brackish water out here because this is a freshwater reservoir we're on. In fact, this is one of the reservoirs that feeds the Baltimore City drinking water reservoir. But we will see lots of marginal plants today. So I didn't bring my fishing rod. The fishing rods, sticking up behind me kind of prevent me from getting in and around, tight corners and underneath the edges of trees and stuff. So predominantly what we're going to be doing today is creeping around the edges of the reservoir, poking up into little nooks and crannies where there's streams flowing in, bushes hanging over, that sort of thing. Just sort of getting an eyeball for any floating plants, any overhanging plants, or any emergent plants that grow up and out of the water. So I guess we'll start by making our way down into this little cove right here. I know there's no stream feeding the back of it, but there is a lot of plants back there. So we'll get back here and check this out. And then I've got, I don't know, I've got lots of places in mind that we can go check out while we're out here today. So let's get down here and get started on seeing what this looks like. And then we'll go from there. Well, not seeing a lot of the kind of stuff I'm looking for. The reservoir is really full, so I'm assuming we're going to see some stuff that's not really marginal per se, like the grass back here. That's just grass. And it was growing there, while the water was low. Now that the water has come back up, it's just sort of in the water. And I'm not seeing anything back there other than grasses and a little bit of skunk cabbage. I've got skunk cabbage in the yard. I'm definitely not interested in having any skunk cabbage as part of my project. So let's move on out of this little cove here. Lots of little bass down in here. It's spawning season. I can see a bunch of holes in that dead branch right there where the woodpeckers have been getting to it. So, alright, let's get back out. We'll go around the bend, and at the back of this next cove over here, I know there's a little stream that feeds into it, so let's go see if there's anything to look at back that way. Alright, let's see if we can get over top this log or how shallow it is. Half the time I try to do this and I wind up bottoming out. Now see, that is a kind of grass that doesn't look like regular grass. That looks more like a marginal grass to me. See this here? pull a smaller chunk of that out, see what we got. Don't know. I guess that's just regular old grass. I don't know if that's necessarily anything worth paying too much attention to. Alright, let's keep on heading that way. Still think we're a little early in the year to see any real aquatic plants out here. All this big broadleaf stuff you see here is all the skunk cabbage. All this is just grass and lots of little baby bass. See, the reservoir has just come up to full, so all this has been exposed ground since last summer, and this is just grass that's taken to growing back here. It'll all either die off or the reservoir level will drop enough that this will just keep growing as grass back here. Again, we got giant skunk cabbage all over the place. That's not really what I'm looking for. Absolutely fantastic fungus right here. That is awesome. No idea what kind it is, but it is really neat. It's even got this growing up through it. So I can't go any further up this way anyway, and there's not really anything to see up there. So I was hoping to find some water lilies, and we've got a variety of different plants that grow up and out that are really genuinely aquatic plants. See, so far all the stuff I'm seeing is stuff I can go find in my own backyard, quite literally. We've got sensitive fern over here. As much as I love the sensitive fern, it grows like a weed in my yard. This is all just, again, just grass. Alright, well, it's nice being back here in the shade, I'll say that at least. So I'm going to take a little break here in the shade, have a little drink of iced tea, and then we will make our way out and about into the main channel. I got a couple spots on the other side of the main channel where I want to go, a couple little coves back there where likewise, you know, a little stream feeds into it, and we'll be able to get back into the little nooks and crannies. And while I don't think we're going to find any of the kind of plants I'm looking for today, it's still just nice being out here, and this is some pretty scenery. So hang on, we'll get there in a minute. Well, we've still got to go all the way out there and across the main channel. I just like coming around that bend right there because it's really pretty and scenic with the shallow water and the sun shining down on the sandy bottom. So now we've got to get out of the cove that the boat launch sits in. We're still in that little finger cove, and get out on the main channel here. And then we're actually going to go all the way across and upstream a little bit. There's a cove over that way that I want to go into, and we'll see what we can see at the back of that. Alright, and one final stop before we get out into the main channel. There's this beaver lodge right here. I'm assuming they use the same lodge year after year. And I know this is an active lodge. I've seen beaver in and around it. I've had them swim alongside me. out here, but I don't see any today. I don't see any recent activity. But that was a beaver lodge. So we'll check on that again. We pretty much have to come right past it every time we come out in here into the main channel. So today we're going to head upstream towards the big trestle bridge that we'll see in a moment. I know this camera is terrible at distance and makes it look like a mile away, but it's maybe a quarter mile away. It's, you know, it's a decent distance, but it's not as far as it looks on camera. So what we're going to do is paddle up. Honestly, we're actually going to paddle along the shoreline here just because it's scenic and pretty. And then as we get a little closer, we're going to cut across, and there's a cove over there we're going to go check out. And then we'll probably wrap it up for the day and start heading back after that. We've had a lot of rain recently, so the water's still kind of murky and cloudy, but you can see the rocks down there, you can see the trees drifting down into the darkness. So from here, we're just going to go straight on across. So I'm going to get on with it, and I'll see you guys when we get over there. I was just out here yesterday afternoon on foot fishing off these rocks right here. Parked up on the side of the road there and walked around this cove. There's a trail that comes out right here. So we are actually going to go back into the end of this cove, look at it from the other side and see what it looks like from the water. Ah, that's something like what I'm looking for there. Let's go over here and check this out. See, I'm not sure what this is. But this is a marginal type plant. It grows down, you can see it's growing into the water a little bit, growing out across the water. This is exactly some of the kinds of stuff I'm thinking about. So I'm not going to go ripping it up and taking it with me today, but that is a good idea of the kind of stuff I'm looking for. And then of course mosses and everything. It is really kind of ironic. This literally is the trail right here that I was walking on last night as I was fishing, and I walked right past that and never even noticed it. Of course I was up there looking out rather than out here looking in, so that makes a difference. try to get out of here without too much collateral damage. And we're going to go down to the very end of this cove and have a little look around. There's some more fallen trees down there that we're going to have to navigate around, but other than that, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Actually, the last time I was here and had to navigate around these trees, the water level was so much lower, it was difficult. So today we may be able to simply paddle right back there. And it kind of looks like we might be able to. I caught a nice bass from standing on that tree trunk yesterday. Ooh, I think we're going to hit that one. Let's go this way. Mostly what we're going to get back here is going to be more of the fern and the skunk cabbage. A lot of fish spawning back here. So this is a little stream that feeds into it. And I don't really see anything of interest. There's a nice bass right there. I pulled a couple little nice bass out of this end of this cove last night. So I see a lot of Virginia creeper. I see an awful lot of poison ivy. And of course this fern I have all over the place in my yard. As I said, a lot of the stuff that we'll see out here. Oh, there goes that bass again. Now I kind of wish I'd brought my fishing rod, although I wouldn't be able to do exactly what we're doing now because of my fishing rods if I had brought them, so I guess it's good that we didn't. Alright, well, we found something. And the more I'm thinking about that, it was almost like an ivy-like sort of ground cover. I believe I've got some of that in my yard too. So I'm not actually going to have to come and poach it from out here, because it is illegal to take plants or even rocks or anything. You're not allowed to take anything out of the park. I know this is a reservoir and it's not an actual state park, but the reservoir is managed under the same rules as though it was a state park. So you're not allowed to remove any of the wildlife or rocks or anything like that, besides of course the fish you're allowed to keep if you're properly licensed and it's within season, so on and so forth. So we won't be taking any plants out of here today. I was just coming out here to get some ideas, but that was a good idea, and again I'm pretty sure I've got that stuff in my yard. Let's go have one more look at that as we go past, since it's right here. And then I got one more place that I want to go have a look at, and it's going to be sort of downstream from where we are now. So yeah, I definitely like that kind of stuff. As far as the project I'm working on, you're going to have to wait and find out what that's all about, because as I said, I'm just now beginning to flesh out the idea of it, and I don't really know what direction I'm going to go with it just yet. So if you are one of my Patreon patrons, you'll be the first to find out. I'll start doing some behind the scenes stuff as I start tinkering with it and putting it together. And then you know, if you're one of my Patreon patrons, of course you'll get to see those videos before the big reveal and the big unveil whenever I get done putting it together for my YouTube channel. So I'm going to get out of here. We're going to go back out in the main channel and head downstream, sort of the way we came, but we're going to stay on this side of the channel, and we're going to go look in another cove down there where another stream feeds into it and see if there's not anything else we can't see. So sit tight and I'll see you around the bend. Definitely want to go down into the end of this cove here. There's a little stream that flows into it, and there's a lot of fern and grassy area. We might even be able to get out and walk around a little bit. I've never really looked around to find if there's a place to get out and do so easily, so we'll check that out when we're down here. But there's a lot of interesting underwater structure. It's just a neat place to go. So I don't know if we're going to see anything different than we've been seeing as far as the plants go, but it'll definitely be an interesting destination to go and check out and have a little look around. We got the mountain laurel out here. That's wild raspberries, if you can see those white flowers there. Dogwoods are about to bloom. There's some azaleas, if you can see those beautiful pink and white flowers right there. Those are some wild azaleas. More raspberries. The mountain laurel will be blooming soon, and when that blooms, it just smells absolutely amazing back here. Not unusual to catch the deer coming down to the water's edge to get a drink either. If you look around, you're generally not going to be this close to them when that happens, but I do see it fairly frequently. I'm not seeing anything interesting plant-wise. A lot of skunk cabbage and fern, which I expected to see. Let's go back over here where the little stream flows in. Over here is where there's more fresh water flowing. You can see the bottom, and there's all these sort of rocky ledges and stuff that extend out that way. Probably get out right there, or right back here. Just step out onto this branch. Well, I bottomed out on something. I think I'm on a log. Alright, let me see about trying to get out of this without killing myself, and maybe I'll see you up there in just a minute. Alright, here we are. So I wound up parking the kayak over here, where it's just a nice little stony area. I didn't have to step off into any mucky, rotten leaves or anything like that. I was able to get off onto some nice, solid rocky ground. And it's a nice little look around back here. Good place to stop and stretch my legs. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to walk through fern. Again, in our yard we just have this fern everywhere, so I'm very familiar with it. But there's just a certain smell that you get from bruised fern when you walk through it. It's just a really, really pleasant smell. At least for me, it reminds me of walking through the woods, which, you know, I've got a lot of fond memories of doing stuff like this throughout my life. And the smell of bruised fern as you walk through it is very distinctive. So that's another reason I'm kind of enjoying being back here, is walking around through all this fern. So here's that tree with all those roots we were just looking at. That's the log right there I got stuck on. I bottomed out on, and then so we backed one up. And while I'm back here, I'm actually going to take the opportunity to once again mention my Velocity shoes and my sealskin socks. My feet are bone dry despite being in and out of the kayak a few times today, and when I want, I'm able to get out and walk around here in areas like this, and if I really wanted to, I could just go on off into the woods and go hiking in these shoes. And so they are much more practical for me than simple, you know, like boat shoes or whatever. And the real thing that I like about these is they have good soles like a hiking boot would, so when I'm sitting in my kayak all day with my feet pressed against those pedals, I don't get that pain in the bottom of my feet from having those really soft bottomed like a water shoe or something like that that you might wear typically when you get in a kayak. I found that just the bottoms of my feet would start aching, and these, you know, hiking boot type shoes actually prevent me from having the sore feet like that. So I'm going to get on with walking around a little bit, stretching my legs. I already shot a little bit of video for YouTube for the people that don't want to watch this lengthy video. So I'm going to finish having some more iced tea, and then we're going to get back on the water, and I'm not sure where we're going to go from here, but we'll keep paddling around a little bit. Now that I've stretched my legs, I feel like I could do a little more paddling. So sit tight and I'll see you out on the water again. Breeze is really starting to pick up. So I think this little cove here is going to be our final destination for the day. Once again, I don't think we're going to find any new or interesting plants back here. But it's out of the sun, it's mostly out of the wind, and it'll be a nice little place to take a break before I head back to the boat launch, which I suspect is going to be into the wind the whole way, judging by what it was like getting here. I don't know if a little stream feeds in back there or not. I think it does, but I can't really get to it because all these fallen branches and logs and everything. Actually, that looks more like when it rains, the water runs off and comes down through the valley there. And this is more of a washout than an actual inlet stream. I can hear a little bullfrog starting to croak back there. So if you can see that little tiny bridge way off in the distance there, looks like a little white dot to you, I suspect. That is the bridge right next to the boat launch, and that's where we've got to go to get back out of here. And if you can tell by the ripples in the water, it looks like, as I said, we're going to be heading into the wind the whole way back. So I am going to bid you adieu here and get on to paddling back that way. So thanks for coming with me. Hope you enjoyed. Look forward to more. It's still early in the season and we'll be doing lots more videos like this. I got a few plans for some outings where we've got a couple of various destinations of things I want to check out, maybe places I haven't been to yet. And at least once this summer I want to make a little bit of a longer sort of a day trip down to a few places that are going to take a couple of hours to paddle down to, maybe have some lunch or something and paddle back. So as I said, look forward to lots more coming up over the next coming months. So make sure you're subscribed and you won't miss any of that. And of course you don't want to miss anything else I got on my fish channels or anything else. So thanks again for watching this one, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.